the world of strange declassified files is bigger than the United States. We've started going through international records and found something significant. Spanish Navy files show a ship off the coast of Ibiza encountered multiple unidentified submerged objects that encircled two larger USOs. They emitted a yellowish-red light shimmering through the ocean surface. 3 years earlier, in 1976, another account is even stranger. Sailors on a Navy corvette saw a singular halo flying near the Canary Islands. A taxi driver and his passenger corroborated this, telling officials they saw a sphere with two red figures inside. This is a new channel covering declassified files. Subscribe to join us. The Canary Islands, June 22, 1976. Two testimonies from Marines on the corvette Atrevida report seeing a white light that seemed to come out of the interior of the island of Tenerife. It headed toward the airport. As it journeyed closer, the light increased in intensity and appeared a bluish color. A circular-shaped halo surrounded the craft. Investigators would later write that they couldn't be sure if this halo was metallic or if it was made of energy. After 2 minutes, the object divided in two, leaving a small piece below that formed a bluish cloud. The upper piece took a spiral path that was quick and irregular, and eventually disappeared. A few minutes later, something interesting happened. On the nearby island of Gran Canaria, several witnesses corroborated the sighting with startling additional details. Most notable is a taxi driver and his passenger, a doctor, who both report seeing a luminous sphere with two beings in it. The doctor's testimony said he saw two tall red figures inside the object. When asked how he felt by investigators, he said he was not afraid but felt a feeling of peace and wanted to go to them. The taxi driver was also interviewed. He said the figures were dressed in red, similar to a diver. Drawings in the file show this appears to be a suit that fully covers the head with a hole for the face. Here's the kicker though. The driver said they were thin and Swedish-looking. Like his passenger, he was more curious than afraid. The device was as if it were made of transparent glass, the taxi driver writes. We saw it still when we arrived at the house and told the staff to come out and see it. When they came, the device moved, leaving a column of smoke. The doctor's account was more detailed. He noted a slightly luminous sphere that was stationary, close to the ground. It was transparent, since through it he could see stars in the night sky. The lower third of the sphere was an aluminum-colored platform that appeared metal with three large consoles. On each side there were two huge figures, 2.5 to 3 meters, 8 to 10 feet tall. Neither turned toward him or the taxi driver. Quote, the strange thing was the morphology of these figures. The position of the extremities gave the appearance they were sitting even while standing. The neck was slightly elongated. The hand seemed to end as a tip of an arrow, so they seemed to be gloved. The uniform they wore seemed stiff without wrinkles, he said. Others told investigators they saw it too. A teacher in a nearby town reported seeing a totally transparent circle that looked 3 times the size of the moon to him. A policeman in another town talks of a reddish object similar to the tip of an arrow. 20 miles north, a woman tells investigators she was home and her TV was off. She looked out the window and saw a large, transparent blue ball. Inside, she notes 2 figures, like men. Her reaction was different than the others. She panicked, closed the windows, and began to pray. We should point out, the Marines' testimony said they saw the object at 9:27 p.m. The sightings by the civilians came 3 minutes later. The ship was roughly 60 miles away from the taxi driver and passenger, meaning if the object were the same, it would have had to travel 1,200 miles per hour. Investigators wrote a final report after gathering the witnesses. They concluded it was totally of unknown origin and couldn't discern if it was made of metal or some form of energy. They used the term Fenomeno Aéreo No Identificado, or FANI. This translates to Unidentified Air Phenomenon. Who could these Swedish-looking individuals have been? Similar encounters with Nordic beings have peppered ufology since the 1950s. During his alleged abduction in 1975, later chronicled in the film Fire in the Sky, Travis Walton says he saw tall, blonde men in the craft. Something else happened to the Spanish military in the waters off Ibiza. In 1979, sailors on the ship Tamames witnessed lights near their bow shimmering up through the ocean surface. Files write they had a yellowish-red color. The captain, concerned it was an obstacle, turned off his own lights. For 15 minutes, radar didn't detect echoes of anything nearby, but when the yellow-red glow stopped, something strange happened. The report states multiple echoes started to appear on the radar screen as intensely as a raycon would. A raycon is a type of transponder used as a navigation aid designed to be extremely visible on radar. These odd echoes lasted for 2 hours before ceasing. The next day, the operator analyzed them. The echoes show a blur of activity of multiple objects moving around two that seem larger. The smaller objects move alongside the larger ones. The cluster of USOs traveled in the same direction as the Tamames, but at a slightly lower speed. Once the echoes grew beyond 3 nautical miles, they disappeared from the screen. The crew inspected the radar for any abnormalities, but found none. Unfortunately, the report doesn't say if any other ships ran into strange submerged lights. But we're still going through the Spanish archives and translating interesting accounts. Future videos will dig into this deeper. If you enjoy this content and want to support our production, 1 new episode per week, consider joining us on Patreon. It really helps us out and is as cheap as a cup of coffee each month. Special thanks to our current Patreon supporters, including RMG. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. Another way you can help us is to hit the notification bell and share with a friend who might be interested in this. We really appreciate it. See you next time!